D.Va Zarya, right? Diamond D.Va Zarya. D.Va for 50 hours, Zarya for 150. What does this person have to say about their gameplay? Okay. Hey, Jayne, this is a mid-diamond off-tank VOD. I've been trading wins a lot, but I still feel like I'm doing well even in the losses. I've been over this VOD a few times now, and I've found a few spots to improve, but it still feels like I'm missing something. Specifically, I think my D.Va needs work as I don't have quite as many hours on her, and I feel like I might have to start playing her more in the open division after the Zarya nerfs drop. Thanks in advance for the help. Well, let's get you the help you want, Hydrophilic. But McCree won the vote? I would swear D.Va won the vote. The McCree VOD won? Oh. I guess I did look at it like 15 minutes. And it's the McCree VOD, eh? McCree VOD. Jokes. Rigged stream. Rigged stream. Am I getting debated? I was sure the D.Va one won. I got trolled so hard. I got trolled so hard. Okay.
Climbed from bronze to plat on my main.
Okay.
But not
unless somebody posts a clip of McCree winning.
Just placed my alt in diamond though.
Hero Blazer. Thanks for the 1,000 bits, dude. Climbed from bronze to plat. Dude, Pog. That's a huge climb. Not able to move up yet. Has a ton of hours. Low MMR? Maybe. Maybe you're just a plat player until you get better. Christina Balzer with the 200 bits. Is EDPI important, or is it a matter of getting used to it? As someone with 10 years of bad habits and an arm injury, if you have a lot of time on a specific EDPI, unless it's like over 100K or even over 50K, like if you've got a fuck ton of time on that sensitivity, you know, it's personal preference, especially if you've got injuries factoring into it. But as a general rule, I still always recommend under 10,000 EDPI, regardless of role. Sneezes with the Prime. Lafayette Streams with the 200 bits says, get baited, idiot. You paid me $2 to call me an idiot. You're the idiot. Yeah. Okay, I'm muting the muting notifications. I'll read the rest of them after the after the VOD. I climbed from plat to masters in a few days thanks to in a few days. Holy shit, dude. New vote? Nah, we're doing this one. I think we got time for both. Maybe. Well, not at the rate I do votaries. But anyway. Diamond D.Va Zarya on Li Zhang. Fun map. Let's check it out, bud. Let's check out what you got for us.
I did poop my pants. It wasn't even an almost, dude.
Okay, let's just, should we get the point? Just go straight? Or, no. We should go main. We should go main so we can spam on.
I love the... You know, it makes me feel so warm and fuzzy when all of the people who submit VODs to me are the ones communicating in their games. It's just, mwah, I love you guys. I love you guys.
They're run and dive, be careful.
Yeah, no jump, Winston. I can bubble you, Ryan.
Mercy one.
Come on, Genji. Need heals.
So it's really, really difficult to maintain charge as Zarya against dive. It can be very challenging to do so. The other thing is that if you are getting cleaved, the Winston is definitely the Reinhardt is definitely the best target in terms of like generating energy. But if they have actually dove onto you, the fight is no longer in the poke or the posture phase, and you need to be using bubbles for life-saving circumstances. Good right click to take out mini D.Va, go for the recap. That's fine. So just your initial projected bubble was not very good. That's a good bubble onto Mercy. You already used your bubble there. You're dead. That's unfortunate.
Oh, we capped.
Against tracers, if they're outside of your melee range, you just left click just for the briefest of moments before dropping a right click on them, especially at high energy. And then if they're close to you, right click melees will almost always be better. Huge barrage. Already swapped over to the D.Va.
That pin was really key there, right? Thanks.
Great job chasing after the Tracer after she's out of blinks. Yeah, she should die here. Nice. Good pursuit.
Yeah, they're staggered.
Your Rhine is struggling so... Help your Rhine! He's got the turrets, please! So anytime you're doing something like this, anytime you're doing something like this, you don't want to boost in and stay there. Because they've got a Genji here, they've got a Mercy here. This is feeding, okay? You're feeding right now. You're feeding. Absolutely. 100%. You back off. Apparently they don't want to actually kill you for some reason. But you're going to back off here, and you manage to get your next booster. But anytime you are trying to, like, contest or make space, for example, like if a Brigitte, for example, has a shield bash or something like that, you want to get really used to doing kind of like U-turns on D.Va. So that you boost in, you kind of pressure somebody with your micro missiles, but then you use the last part of your boosters to get away or get onto high ground or anything like that. So you want to contest people, but you don't want to end up in kind of like a fight where the opponent has support and you don't, if that's a nice way to put it. What is Danny doing? Mic shifting to right channel again? Really? We'll change it just a little bit to the left. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, I think something's going wrong with my mixer, which is unfortunate, but okay, practice range. So, yeah, anytime you are that's annoying. Anytime that you're trying to, like, contest somebody, if you want to, like, finish them off or something, or if you're pursuing a kill, then you can kind of, like, hard boost at them and kill them like that. But anytime you're wanting to actually kind of, you know, what's like, this target here, for example, any bot like this, if you do want to kind of just make space, well, wait until he turns around. Is if you do want to, like, contest an area or anything like that, boost at them with micros, but then finish off by pushing away from them. So you can, because you can knock people back pretty significantly. The micro activation is going to do a lot of damage, so you activate it as you're boosting at them. But then you use the last bit of your boost in order to get back to safety or back to cover. You don't want to terminate your boost in an area where you're in danger. So you can do those little U-turns, or if you're kind of fighting somebody on the low ground, you can boost into them, but then use the last little bit of your boosters to get onto high ground, where then you can use this cover. So always try to be terminating your boosters either behind cover, onto high ground, or something of the sort. You know, if you're trying to contest the high ground, for example, you can boost up like that and then just, like, get in their face. You can stay on the high ground themselves, but if there's a tunnel or anything like that, you definitely don't want to stay up there. So, unless you're pursuing a kill, contesting does not mean boosting up to somebody and staying there, because you don't really have the ability to burst through support, and your hitbox, and specifically your crit box, is so massive that despite you having 600 HP, a lot of that damage coming in is going to be critical hits. So you want to avoid that as much as possible.
Kill Genji, kill Genji.
So just try terminating your charge, or your boosts rather, in safer spots.
Just stall as long as you can. Can you get to point?
Was the D.Va pick better than Zarya pick? Absolutely. Because they're playing dive, Zarya really struggles to get energy against dive. And also, dive will just burn through Zarya's bubbles and kill whatever target they're diving regardless. A focused dive, at least. Always, you can use your micro missiles to break Winston's bubble. That is good value.
Leave me alone! Battle Mercy.
You don't normally want to use your boosters against Tracer unless they've already used recall. You could bomb here, but the sim turrets are going to fuck you up.
Oh my god. Okay, group up. Can we go right?
I don't know if the soldier's working, to be honest. I feel like we should switch to someone who's better at countering their flankers.
Can we just... I can go Reaper too.
Kree. Kree's fine. Less survivability, though, so you are going to have to pay more attention to him.
Kills Winston, kills
Good
Winston.
micro usage here. Bombs coming out. You got demeched again by that. You had your boosters too, so you could have hidden from that. So far,
Mercy one,
your awareness is a little bit struggling. You know, you're missing things like the locations of D.Va bombs, the existence of sim turrets, some cooldowns you're not reacting properly to, like a Genji dashing away makes him vulnerable, a Winston having used his bubble makes him vulnerable, or, you know, you can just break Winston's bubble to make his engagement a lot more difficult. You're going to point. Are you going to touch? You do. You need to kill those turrets. You finally notice them, but you're still not going to deal with them. It's unfortunate. That was a very well-placed sim wall, though.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is a little bit foggy. The video is a little bit foggy.
Maybe a break for
Okay.
their Tracer Genji?
Yeah, we could just try like complete.
Yeah, I know he's in chat.
Yeah. I'm playing really divey. I can play Reaper too. Actually, James, do you play Reaper or no? Just you can play.
I assume you're going to stay on D.Va for this, because you are,
Arista
like, a,
Yeah,
especially for Garden. Garden is a very, very...
Let's do Arista
Monkey?
D.Va.
It is a dive
and then
map,
PMA, do you play
absolutely.
Bridge?
Unless you're playing, like, Goats or something, you're playing Winston
That's
D.Va
fine.
on
We
this
can
map.
play Monkey then.
Are we
We
banned?
should definitely
What do you mean by
get a
that?
break if someone plays Brig.
Yeah.
Banned from what?
PMA, that'd be great if you could play Brig.
Or
Because you're just getting
Zang or
go
anyone.
on.
Okay, this should
Okay.
be good actually.
So check for Farah.
Kill him,
What
Winston,
the
kill him,
hell
Winston.
did you use your defense matrix on?
Okay, this should be good actually.
You used all of your defense matrix on just random spam, also when your Winston dropped his bubble. So, defense matrix is... that's horrendous. Absolutely. You know, even defense matrix like micro missiles or something would have been a little bit of a better use, but you wasted all of your defense matrix before the opponent's even first activation of micros.
Kill her, Winston, kill her, Winston.
You micro their... you try to micro their Winston bubble. You can see their D.Va is defense matrixing your micros. There's Sim there. She's charging up. You should be able to kill her. Nice. But you again terminate your charge on point where they have already managed to set up Symmetra turrets. So Winston is by far a better option than you for actually clearing out turrets.
Why did our Ana
But
kill herself?
you're kind of very frontliney. You're acting like the main tank when you should be supporting your main tank as much as possible. But you're kind of like playing in a brawler style of off tank when, especially against the Symmetra, you want to do your best in order to actually support your main tank here. Good damage onto the D.Va while she's remeching. That's fine. Good demech here. No reason to use boosters there. If that Mercy had found a Guardian Angel target anywhere, she would have been able to escape you and you would have ended up in Narnia.
Sorry, guys,
So you
back up,
use
back
your
up,
boosters
back up,
pretty
back up.
aggressively.
Genji's one, Genji's one. Brig, you're way too deep.
Interesting. Bit too high. You know, you got to get used to those. So
Back up, they have
if
a
you
widow.
just launch your bomb immediately from the ground at such a sharp angle, it's going to explode. And it's a sphere, right? It's not a column or anything like that. So in terms of like where you want your bomb to explode, if this is ground level, if your bomb explodes way the hell up here, since it's a sphere, right, the kill zone itself is really tiny. Whereas if the bomb explodes closer to the ground, right, you've got a larger kill zone on the ground itself. So you really only want to aerial burst if you're going against Pharahs. So just wait like a quarter to a full second when you are going to be launching those bombs so the bombs explodes not on the ground, but just above the ground itself. And just being able to launch those, if you are a D.Va player, you need to be able to know the timing depending on which angle you're at.
Guys, they have a widow, back up.
No, we can go aggressive right now. We're down two. Okay, we demech D.Va, that's good enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just
Good
don't peek
retreat
her.
here.
Try not to give her ult charge.
So you defense matrix with Genji.
Genji's one, nice.
The immediate reaction to that should have been, right? So what should the immediate reaction have been to your Pharah getting shot by Widowmaker? The immediate reaction to this should be, I'll DM, go for the res, I'll DM or something like that. And if Winston can't bubble the Mercy, you just defense matrix the Mercy while she reses. And then if you see the blade coming out, then you can stop defense matrixing and going for the boop after his dash. After his dash. So, defense matrix. And I'm not sure if it was after or not. I certainly don't think it was intentionally after. What the hell? He's stuck in the floor. But yeah, you want to be using your boost after Genji has dash, because if you knock him away from his target, you prevent him from getting his dash reset, and then he can't, finish up with the rest of his blade. That was weird. Yeah, I think you boosted before he dashed, and then you kind of just 180 to finish up on him. So should have defense matrix the Mercy. She pulled it off the res anyway. And then you boosted too early, but you got away with it because you were still able to make contact after his dash completed. Always deny dash reset as much as you can.
Come on, Winston.
Are you? Are you really on Winston? That Winston looks weird. Nice kill.
Oh, what?
It's fine, we won.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It was a good kill, though. I won't fault you for it. Using dash, you're using your boosters again way too early, right? That Genji probably still has dash. Yeah, he still had dash.
Watch out, Widow.
You got there. So you don't want to be, trying to force cooldowns like dash, like recall, without having used your boosters so that you can pursue those targets afterwards. Nice bomb. Very cheeky angle.
Genji behind.
So this is very dangerous here. Very dangerous. And it's going to work out. Like, this is one of those high risk, high reward sort of things. But if the opponent realizes you're there, like, this is something that would... There's a Winston. Let me watch that again, actually. So, when you go for this... When you go for this flank, they have a Sim and a Widow. And they have, the Zenyatta is in trance. So you would expect to terminate his trance back here. So thankfully the Widowmaker doesn't see you and then decides to just try and ignore your existence. Or maybe she's running for the Transcendence or something like that. But nobody really reacts to you. So you could have gotten peeled for pretty badly. And this could have turned into a feed. Did it work out for you? Absolutely. So could you argue that this was high risk, high reward? Certainly. But at the same time, right, you are one of the best characters in terms of, brawling on the front line or whatnot, as well as keeping people in the back line alive, especially when you are playing against Dive. Now, you're playing against a Genji Widowmaker, not a Genji Tracer anymore, but the same still applies. Micro missiles on the Sim, who doesn't even turn around.
Genji.
Knocking the Genji away. Still a Harmony on him. Not looking for the Zenyatta.
There's a Winston on me. Help me.
I'm trying.
Again, with your boosters being activated really early, right? So this booster activation right here did nothing except for make it harder for you to actually hit the Winston.
I'm trying.
All right? So if he still had jump, you've used your boosters first, so he can now jump away from you and do whatever the fuck he wants. Then you boost after him, and he jumps away to the next target. So you boost basically off cooldown very aggressively, and it's actually hurting you. So D.Va's fall off is actually a lot better than people think it is. She doesn't start having reduced damage until 10 meters. 10 meters. It's her spread that makes her challenging to do damage against squishy targets. But against tanks and shields, she does full damage at 10 meters. You don't need to be like super close quarters against these targets. You don't. And if they do place a bubble, you can boop Winstons out of their bubbles with your boosters. Right? Just melee him. Bam!
There we go. Good swaps, guys.
That was a great. That was great swaps.
Just like on Winston, you want to be finishing any blow or any target you can with a melee. Jayne, can you decolon? No. Guys, I am a master brig trying to flex to DPS. That's why we're doing so good.
Oh wow, dude! Thank you for your.
Do you guys want to run Ryan Zarya with the brig and stuff? Just because this
Wow.
point's so good with Ryan.
All on James. Thank you, James, for the carry.
I feel like if we just ball up.
Why is Sim so frowned upon? Because previously she took up a support spot while doing no healing at all.
Right.
So people would be like, I'm a support though, but you can't play normal team comps with the Sim as a healer. So that's why Sim was just despised so much. Took a healer spot and did no healing.
Is it working too? They didn't even cap last time.
I just don't like diving on this point.
So back onto Zarya.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're going to see if the same problems from your D.Va play persist onto your D.Va play. Sorry, your Zarya play. So really cool early cooldown activation, early cooldowns activations, basically off cooldown here. Very far in front, almost burnt the D.Va.
Kills Ryan, kills Ryan.
Still not paying attention to that Sim turret. Just kill it.
D.Va's still low in mech.
It's still there.
Nice.
You could have cleansed the Brigitte, who is purple there. Got away with it, but I don't know what's preventing you from noticing some of these things. Like, you know, the quality of the video isn't the greatest, but I can still tell both off visual cues and audio cues that there's things like turrets right there. And the only real reason that you have so much ult charge here isn't because you played especially well. It's because you basically farmed a D.Va who wasn't in a very good location. Your Reaper got farmed, but res.
Ryan.
Nice little right click there. Good bubble.
McCreasy point, McCreasy point.
Ooh, that's a runaway. Your brig has no fear. Holy shit.
Just stall.
Right
I
click.
can't see you, Ren.
Nice. No. There's no need for you to grab that at all. So they were already knocked down. You could have just right clicked, you know, once, maybe twice to get both of them.
Thank you, Mercy.
Huge play from the Ryan was a little bit slow on that one. Should have worked out normally, but yeah, that grab was very much wasted. They were already dead. So if we're looking at this situation right here, right with the grab. So let's look at this situation, right? You've lost your Reaper. And you get this Sim, right?
I can't see.
So at this point in time, even without the Graviton, even without the hammer, is this fight won? Probably, right? There's a shit ton of squishies, and even if the D.Va remechs, you can just melt her down because you're at 95 energy. Right? So they get hammered, so now there's two of them on the ground. You can kill this Zenyatta, which would remove the harmony with just, you know, a right click or two, but you grab them anyway. So huge over-ulting there. Not kind of keeping track of the advantage or what you're just generally good at here. Ryan was just a little bit slow. That could have started to turn things the other direction. You know, that Ryan pulls that off, and their McCree hits a target while you're distracted. You know, could have turned things the other direction. So now, anytime you're sitting above, you know, 60, 70 energy, you can afford to use bubbles for basically life-saving situations here. So you can use it, sure, to like win the war of the front line and whatnot and make their Reinhardt back off and whatnot. But you want to be a lot more cautious with your bubbles when you're in this situation because you simply don't need to use them to maintain charge. Your Mercy has the riskiest reses. It's too bad your Ryan didn't charge the D.Va.
Both their supports up on the high ground.
You have really good right-click control, though. Like, your mechanical skill in terms of landing right-clicks is very good. This is a carry performance right here. Just fucking kill the turrets. Oh my god. The sim turrets are your kryptonite!
Just reset.
We've seen one fight, boys.
The sim turrets are your kryptonite. Unbelievable.
We can just stack ults.
So there's, you know, your cooldown management is definitely a lot better on Zarya here.
We going far?
But your awareness, and then I'm not sure if it's because of your awareness or it's an unrelated issue, but your target priority sometimes just goes all to hell. Like when you notice those two supports kind of on the high ground there, you immediately tried to go for them, and you were like, "Oh, Ryan, get like."
Okay, that's fine. They used ults. We didn't use. Ults.
Are you trolling me at this point? Are you just like not used to the sound that sim turrets make? There's two of them shooting you right now. I know you're not a Winston, but you can just right-click them. Or just bzz, they're dead, right? They're not that strong. Yeah, so they're...
Okay, that's fine. They used ults. We didn't use any ults, so we used big ults.
So far, the theme of this is you're struggling to perform as well as you could for two reasons. Number one, because you're not aware of everything that's going on. And number two, that lack of awareness, I suppose, is causing you to target the wrong things. When you actually do kind of get unleashed and you find squishy, those left click, right clicks are really nice. You're killing a lot of people. But sometimes you just make the wrong decisions. Your mechanics so far are fine. You don't have nearly as bad of an issue with your cooldowns on Zarya as you did on D.Va, which is actually weird. Normally it's backwards. But yeah, that's fine, Rez.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, you actually noticed them. Nice. You killed two with one right click. Huge.
These antis, though.
Nice.
She doesn't have it now, though, when she needs it. I'm
Huge
burning
burn.
this D.Va.
Nice. You actually got it that time.
Push, Ryan. You can go. Go hard, Ryan.
No, we're that free high ground.
I need heals. Push, Ryan. You can go. Go hard, Ryan.
So, this is one of the interesting things to me here. This is one of the interesting things here. Oh my god, he noticed? What did I notice? Or did he... Oh no, the Zarya player noticed the turrets. So here's the question. Do you, even though you have Grav, go after your counter, who is currently out of position? You can not only be with your team and be with cover in order to farm a D.Va out of mech, or do you go out of position in order to attack a shield?
No, we're that free high ground.
So your target priority again is just so weird sometimes. Even if you have Grav, D.Va is not just for farming Grav, but you can put so much pressure on her. You removing her from the equation allows Anna to act more freely. It allows Farah to act more freely. It allows you to Grav without worry or anything like that. So I don't know why you're making these decisions. There's nothing going on here that would imply that you should be going for the Reinhardt instead of the D.Va or anything like that. And both on D.Va and Zarya, you take the initiative. You know, consistently taking the initiative. You're frontlining in front of your Rhine. You're engaging and initiating in front of your Winston. And you're only really assisting your main tank on both D.Va and Zarya when it is convenient to you or you happen to be in the same place at the same time.
I need heals.
And also, there's a couple times here.
Oh, we're that free high ground.
Yeah, so right here, too. There's a couple times you tunnel vision. So this bubble right here, you grabbed, you realized it's not going well, you're trying to rotate behind them, and then you're like, I'm not getting anything done. What's the one thing I can do? I have a bubble coming off cooldown. I'm just going to use this damn thing. So your Rhine is heal buffed right now, and Mercy is still alive in Valkyrie. Is it super necessary for you to bubble here? Not really here, but it's really the only thing you could do, so you wanted to get some value, so you just dropped a bubble on Reinhardt.
I need heals, I need heals, I need heals!
And then you died to Nanocree. You need to reset pretty much immediately if you want a next fight. Looks like it is going to happen. That's good.
We got to touch now, boys.
You're 85%. You're fine. Fine.
I can touch, I can touch.
You need to stop having Defense Matrix be such a Pavlovian response, right? If you start taking damage, regardless of what the source of damage is, you Defense Matrix. And this seems to be just a thing that D.Va players do, is they just Defense Matrix kind of instinctually. And we saw this on a recent D.Va VOD as well, where the D.Va Defense Matrix, every time they were boosting, even if they weren't taking damage, it was just kind of like muscle memory to them that every time they boost, they use their Defense Matrix. So, right, you already wasted quite a bit of your Defense Matrix here, and then you immediately boost after the Zen, after having taken a right click. Now, the other thing is that you're using your micro missiles as you close distance on them, so a lot of those miss. Actually, quite a few of those hit. I thought more would miss than they did. But they are also getting healed up by that Ana. So Zenyatas are scary things, you know, if you catch them off guard, but if they see you coming or they have any support, it's not the easiest thing in the world for you to actually take out here. So you could have been helping your Rhine, but with them at full strength and with you, the rest of your team still coming in, the ideal play here would have been to just maintain a foothold in overtime until the rest of your team arrived, so that you could actually kind of form a final fight there on a fair footing. But if you kind of rush in because you need to contest, you need to make a play, you need to go big like this, you're just going to feed, and then everybody else is going to constantly trickle in, and you're not going to get that last fight. And you're dead. You know, if you had just played with your Reinhardt to keep him alive a little bit longer or enable him a little bit longer, if you hadn't wasted your Defense Matrix on the turret, you could have Defense Matrix to the Pharah so that she could get more value out of her barrage, you know, gotten the Zen for you. You wouldn't have even had to dive for the Zen.
I don't know what else I could have done.
And there it is. Is this the first VOD I've done like all month that didn't have a tangent? Shouldn't really have lost that? No, he deserved to lose that. There was a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of mistakes there. Oh, toxic. Toxic. You don't like your teammate. Okay. We're 2 days into the month, so maybe. What else can I think about that? And the problem is, normally when I see a person making a mistake, I can understand the reasoning behind their mistake, but I don't understand the motivations you have or what is prompting you to chase the targets you chase. You know, there's some little things like just playing safer. You can exert more map control for longer if you stay alive and you play with your main tank instead of trying to play without your main tank. Like, that is definitely going to be one of the things that will help you the most with your play, is actually trying to work with your teammates. You know, as we talk about, as we're moving up through Diamond, Platinum is where, right? In Platinum, you group as 6 and you fight as 6. And that's about all you can ask for. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. In Diamond, you're actually going to start kind of working with the synergies of your allies, as well as kind of caring more about the matchups between the two teams themselves. And then when you get into Masters, you're going to have to care about compositions and how compositions play. So instead of in Plat, you will play dive comp, but all dive comp means in Plat is that you have the heroes that coincidentally are the same heroes that the pros use when the pros play dive comp. But they do not do any of the things that the pros do when the pros dive. They just kind of happen to play the same heroes. When you get into Diamond, you're going to have to start to work on how those characters actually function together. Like the D.Va defense makes the Winston's jump. You know, peels for the Zenyatta, uses the bump, or uses the knockback for XYZ purpose. And you're seeing how you can interact and match up with the opponent, how can you disrupt the opponent's goals and synergies, and how you can really work with your team. And then once you get into Masters, you're going to have to actually care about how those team synergies at a compositional level work. But you're still playing Overwatch like it's a solo queue game. And the problem being, you are playing the most team-oriented role in not a solo queue fashion, but a single-player game. You're playing this as if your teammates are just kind of there. You know, maybe you have like a Call of Duty background or something like that, because this is kind of the mentality I often see from like Call of Duty players, where they just kind of like respawn, run in sort of thing. You know, we have some minor game sense adjustments or whatnot, but so is it awareness? Like the turrets and the other things are definitely an awareness problem. If you're not wearing a headset, wear a headset. If you don't have Dolby Atmos turned on, turn Dolby Atmos on. You know, have the volume loud enough so that you can actually hear things. You know, and the other thing is that if for some reason sound cues don't even click in your head, you know, play with music running and then constantly check your corners, having a head on a swivel or something like that, right? If you don't have sound cues, but, you know, you don't see the Reinhardt, is it because they don't have a Reinhardt? The Reinhardt is dead, or is it because the Reinhardt is flanking? So, hey, Emong, how you doing? 8 indeed. But yeah, I'm not sure what's prompting your target priority, but my first piece of advice for you to start kind of improving your gameplay is give up. You are going to become the Buddhist monk of off-tank players. You are going to give up all ideas of what you want. You are not allowed to have goals anymore. When you start playing Overwatch in the future, I want you to try and figure out what somebody on your team, whether it's your main tank, whether it's your flex support, whether it's your projectile DPS, next time you would go into a game, pick one person on your team and just try and support whatever they want to do. Don't do what you want to do. Try to best support somebody on your team, and maybe that'll help teach you what other people want to accomplish and how you can assist them in that goal. I don't know. It was a very interesting VOD.